Changli is finally here, and I don't know about you, but I was waiting a lot for her release, because she literally turns into a phoenix. Changli is a fusion character that is focused on being a quick swap DPS for your teams, but also with capabilities of being a dedicated main DPS if you wish for that. In this video, I will explain all you need to know about her, how to build her, how to play with her, who is good with her, everything. 97% of you are not subscribed, so please don't forget to leave your like and a sub if you like this video, because doing that will help YouTube realizing that you like my content and starting recommending it more for you and for other people as well. We have a video every Wednesday and Saturday if you are interested, and all my links are in the description. For those who want to support me even more, you can always become a member. Just before talking about Changli kit, I want to let you all know that the informations I will be talking about next were taken from what the game has available for us. I'm recording this guide with some time in advance because unfortunately for me, Changli will be launched while I am on vacations. So any of the information regarding her kit and nodes are subject to change, so keep that in mind.
Who's the caged bird now?
Changli is a 5-star character from the fusion element who uses the sword type weapon, and it's focused on being a quick swap DPS with room to turn into an off-field DPS. On her basic attacks, both normal and mid-air attack, Changli performs up to 4 fusion attacks, and after releasing her 4th basic attack, she will enter the true sight state for 12 seconds. On her heavy attack, Changli will do an upward strike at the cost of some stamina that will deal fusion damage, and if you use your basic attack with a certain time, she will release her mid-air 3rd attack, and if you use your mid-air heavy attack, she will do a plunge attack at the cost of stamina that will deal fusion damage, and if you do a basic attack within a certain time, she will release her 3rd basic attack. When you use her resonant skill, Tripartite Flames, Changli enters true tight state for 12 seconds and releases a plunging attack, dealing fusion damage. Her skill have 2 charges with a 12 seconds cooldown, and it can be cast mid-air. If Changli is on true sight and uses a basic attack, she will dash towards the enemy and deal fusion damage, called True Sight Conquest. But if she jumps or uses a mid-air attack while on the true sight, she will transform into a phoenix and will plunge towards the enemy, dealing fusion damage, called True Sight Charge. I advise on only using the mid-air attack True Sight Charge since it has higher multipliers, but both attacks are considered as skill damage and will end True Sight state when they end. On her Forte circuit, Flaming Sacrifice, when releasing a heavy attack, if Changli carries 4 stacks of inflammement, she consumes all stacks of inflammament to cast an enhanced heavy attack called Flaming Sacrifice, dealing fusion damage and considered as resonant skill damage. Also, while casting Flaming Sacrifice, Changli takes 40% less damage. Changli can hold up to 4 stacks of inflammament, and she will gain 1 stack for every True Sight Conquest or True Sight Charge on hit, and she will gain 4 quests immediately after using her Resonance Liberation. Talking about it, on her Resonance Liberation, Radiance of Fealty, Changli deals fusion damage to nearby targets, obtains 4 stacks of inflammament, and enters the Fury Feather state. In this state, when she releases an enhanced heavy attack within 10 seconds, her attack is increased by 25%, and after that, the Fury Feather ends. You can also use her Liberation mid-air if you decide to. On her intro skill, Obedience of Rules, Changli appears in mid-air, attacks the target and enters True Sight lasting for 12 seconds. And on her outro skill, Strategy of Duality, the next Resonator taking the field has their fusion damage amplified by 20% and their Resonance Liberation damage amplified by 25% for 10 seconds or until they leave the field.
Who's the caged bird now?
With her minor fortes, Changli will gain a total of 8% crit rate and 12% attack. With her first inherent skill, Secret Strategist, when Changli releases True Sight Conquest or True Sight Charge, for each stack of inflammament, Changli's fusion damage bonus is increased by 5%. With her second inherent skill, Sweeping Force, when Changli releases her enhanced heavy attack or her Resonance Liberation, her fusion damage bonus is increased by 20%, and she will ignore 15% of the target's defense when dealing damage. Her talent priorities are the following: focus on your skill first, then your forte, after that your liberation, then your basic attack, and for last your intro skill.
Who's the caged bird now?
Now let's talk a bit about Changli's sequences for those who are thinking if it's worth to going after them. On her S1, her Resonance skill and enhanced heavy attack will increase Changli damage for 10% and her resistance to interruption. On her S2, getting inflammement stacks increases Changli's crit rate by 25% for 8 seconds. On her S3, her Resonance Liberation damage is increased by 80%. With her S4, after intro skill is cast, all team members' attack is increased by 20% for 30 seconds. On her S5, the multiplier for her enhanced heavy attack is increased by 50%, and its damage dealt is also increased by 50%. And for last, with her S6, the Resonance skill, Enhanced Heavy Attack and Resonance Liberation ignore an additional 40% of target's defense when dealing damage.
Who's the caged bird now?
Now, it's time to talk about the best echo sets you should farm for your Changli. Her best in-slot echo to maximize her damage would be Molten Rift, increasing your fusion damage by 10% on its 2-piece, and furthermore 30% for 15 seconds after using Resonance skill on its 5-piece. This set will be your best option if you wish to maximize your Changli personal damage, since she can maintain a 100% uptime for the 5-piece buff thanks to her double skill and 12 seconds cooldown, and as your main echo, Inferno Rider will be your best choice. It will deal 3 slashes of fusion damage when casted, and after the final hit, it will increase your Changli fusion damage and basic attack damage by 12% for 15 seconds. Even though the basic attack damage is not as appreciated as the skill damage, Changli will like the fusion damage buffs. If you want to use Changli more in a sub DPS role, her best set is without any doubt Moonlit Clouds. With this set, you will increase your energy regen by 10%, allowing for more Resonance Liberations, leading to more enhanced heavy attacks, while also increasing the attack of the next Resonator after the outro skill by 22.5% for 15 seconds. And if you decide to go with this set as your main echo, going with the Impermanence Heron will be your best option, since it will deal some havoc damage when cast, while also regaining 10 Resonance energy for your Changli, and after the first hit lands, buffs the damage dealt by the next character after you perform an outro skill within the next 15 seconds by 12% for 15 seconds. While you are still trying to get a complete set for your Changli, you can mix and match echo sets that provide energy regen, fusion damage and or attack, with the Impermanence Heron or Inferno Rider as your main echo.
Who's the caged bird now?
Now that we know the best sets, let's now talk about the best stats you need to be looking for. For the 4-cost echo, crits. For the 3-cost echoes, double fusion damage or with 1 attack since she gains a lot of fusion damage. And for the 1-cost echoes, attack percent. For the substats, you should focus on energy regen until 135%, then crits, after that attack percent, then resonance skill damage, and for last resonance liberation damage. Remember that both her true sight state basic attacks and her enhanced heavy attack are considered skill damage, so it's useless to look out for basic attack damage and heavy attack damage on the substats.
Who's the caged bird now?
For Changli weapons, her best insult will be her signature Blazing Brilliance, which will give you a solid amount of crit damage on this substat, and its passive will provide a 12% attack buff and a max of 56% skill damage bonus based on the stacks she will gain every time she will deal damage or use her skill, and the skill bonus will disappear within 10 seconds after reaching max stacks. This weapon is amazing for Changli since most of her damage is considered skill damage, and since she attacks super quick, you will reach the max stacks without any problems. Her second best option will be the standard 5-star sword Emerald of Genesis. This weapon offers a solid amount of crit rate on this substat, and its passive will increase your energy regen by 12.8%, already helping you reach the energy breakpoint, while also increasing your attack by 6% when you use your skill, blessing for 10 seconds and stacking up to 2 times. Her best 4-star option will be the Commando of Conviction, providing attack percent on its substat and increasing even more your attack by 15% for 15 seconds after releasing an intro skill. The Lunar Cutter is really close to Commando since it gives the same amount of attack on its substat and also has a passive that increases your attack, but it performs lower since its buffs are not always guaranteed. Other 4-star weapons like Looming Gloss and Sword 18 can be used on Changli as attack stat sticks while you try to get one of the better options. And for last, for those who don't have any of the previous weapons, the 3-star weapon Sword of the Night can be used on Changli while you don't have any better weapon, since it will give you attack percent on its substat and more attack on its passive when you use your intro skill. And even though this weapon has a lower base attack thanks to the rarity, it's also thanks to that you are able to synthesize it to S5, where it will give you 16% attack for 10 seconds after using the intro skill.
Who's the caged bird now?
For Changli teams, you will end up pairing her with the other quick swap characters to fully utilize her kit, and with preference, characters that can utilize her outro skill. But don't forget you also have the possibility to turn her into a non-field DPS. So here are some of my options. For an Encore team, pair her with Encore and Verena or Baiji. For a non-field hypercarry team, pair her with Yinlin or Sanhua and Verena or Taochi. And for an F2P team, pair her with Chichia or Havoc Rover and Baiji. Just a reminder that Changli will always be a good DPS and sub DPS for any team. and I believe that even in the future she will be able to fit in any team that needs a sub DPS with low on-field time. And don't limit yourself into only using the teams I mentioned. If you would want to try something else, do it. And if you have any team you think it's worth to mention, or if you want some suggestions on what characters to use instead of the ones I recommended, feel free to comment about it.
Who's the caged bird now?
So what's your opinion about Changli? After this guide, I hope you have a more understanding on how to build and play with her. Once again, I'm sorry for not having better footage and data on Changli. Like I said, I'm recording this super earlier because I will be on vacations when Changli gets launched. And just for you all to have an idea, I'm recording this on July 6, so I'm sorry if any of her kit information turns out as wrong. I know her kit is confused, and I try my best to explain it in a simpler way. If you like my content, don't forget to leave your sub and to like this video. Your support is amazing, and I'm so happy to have you from that side. 97% of you are not subscribed, so please press that subscribe button and come join this community. A special thanks to my members for trying to support me even more, and thank you so much for staying until the end. See you every Wednesday and Saturday for another amazing video. Stay safe and good luck on your pulls.